Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. We are once again in Las Vegas, Nevada at SHOT Show 2022 in the Beretta Media Zone, interviewing the folks who are the folks to know here at the SHOT Show, talking to trainers, talking to people who have products, talking to people who are media personalities, and quite frankly, sometimes some people just hanging out. And so we had a chance to meet an individual at the Circle Bar last night. You might remember Mike talking about Circle Bar, but we're talking about her. She is a firearms trainer or defensive pistol trainer who goes by the name of Velocity Vixen.
Hi, thanks for having me on here.
It is a pleasure to have you on. So I guess first of all, let me just say, is Velocity your real name?
No, my real name is Cassandra.
Cassandra, okay, all right. That's good to know. How did you come up with the name Velocity Vixen?
I didn't. So several years ago, there was this man on Facebook who got a hold of me and wanted me to sell optics, which you can't do on Facebook. So I told him he would have to create another page because I didn't want my page to get banned. And so he actually named it Velocity Vixen. And then all of that kind of fell through. And I used it as more of like a political dumping ground to run my mouth. And it built quite a following. It had like 13,000 people following it before they decided to ban the page because I'm mouthy. But by then, everyone knew me as VV. They knew Velocity Vixen as the name, so the name stuck, and it is now the name of my S-Corp.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about exactly what you do.
So I'm a defensive pistol instructor.
Okay.
I started off in the pro-life field. I think I told you about that last night.
Yeah.
I started off in more of the pro-life movement, and then came upon the point in my life where I needed a firearm. Long story. And so I bought one, but I didn't really know much about firearms. I knew how to use it.
Right.
Relatively, you put you load it, you pull the trigger. I knew that much, but I didn't really know anything about training. I didn't know anything about the firearm itself and how it functioned. So I sort of stepped out to learn that, and then it just sort of melded together. When you change your perspective from seeing a firearm as this death machine and seeing it as a tool that you can use to defend life. And that is its purpose, not to be a death machine.
It's kind of interesting because that then falls in line with exactly what you were doing before. When you were a pro-life activist, you were about protecting innocent life.
Right.
Now, as a firearm instructor, you're teaching people as a defensive pistol trainer.
Now
You're
I
now
teach you how to
people
protect
to
your
protect
life.
themselves, to protect their innocent life.
Yes.
So it may seem like they're two different things, but in actuality, it's all about protecting life.
They're really not. So they're not two separate things at all. And when I first got into this business, like one of my first t-shirt design was a Glock that said pro-life on it. And it was more of a conversation piece, I guess you would say, because people would come up and they see this gun on your shirt and it says pro-life across the slide, and they're like, okay, what is that about? It's kind of contradictory, don't you think? And now you've opened the door for the conversation that I want to have.
Well, it's funny because I always get to people when it comes to, like, people say, well, for example, how can you be pro-life and be pro-death penalty? And I said, because the difference we're talking about here is innocent life, right?
Right.
If you have done something so horrendous, right, that you have convinced a jury of people, of 12 people, that you need to lose your life, right, you're no longer innocent, right? Your life is no longer, quote unquote, considered to be innocent. And same thing in this particular case. If it gets to a point where you have to use your firearm against somebody in defense of your own life, this is not an innocent life we're talking about. It's not an innocent
this is someone who's out to take your life.
Exactly.
That's not an innocent person.
Right.
It's important to not see violent people in that perspective.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is that, I get it, the Bible says,
it's almost like I was about to say you'd see them as if they're not people, but they are people.
Well, they are very much people, but at a certain point, you have to defend yourself.
They don't see a person when they see you,
Right.
though. They
Right.
see an opportunity,
Yes.
or they see a victim, or they see whatever their sick and vendetta is, but they're not looking at you like you're a person. It is your humility that is looking at them like they're a person.
Right.
That's not what they see when they look at you.
Nope. You are 100% correct.
So it's one of the things when you get into defensive firearms is understanding that if you are put in that point, hesitation is clear.
Right.
So you really need to understand that that's what you're buying this for, that's what you're training for.
Right.
And if you needed to use it to defend your life, you would have to pull the trigger.
Well, and that's training is not about imparting knowledge. Training and teaching are two different things.
Right.
Teaching is to impart knowledge to somebody. Training is making that knowledge instinctual, right? Making it so that rather than thinking, you are reacting. And so you want to make sure that your reactions are appropriate and correct. You want to know what to look for, what to identify. You want to know, once you identify a target or something, a threat, you want to know exactly what do I need to do, or what are the steps I need to do in terms of eliminating that threat. Is it get out of that
and that's a
situation? Am I able to get out of that situation?
So you have to keep training.
Right.
Because that's a perishable skill. What your brain does repetitively is what it will do instinctually.
Right. Training is about building habits, and guess what? Habits change.
Yes.
If you don't keep reiterating, if you don't keep training, just like muscle, there's a reason why they call it muscle memory. It's your muscles get to a point where they're used to, this is what you do, this is how you do it. But if you're not doing it that way, then your muscles learn something else.
It's training your brain to react that way. When you're driving a car, you're not thinking about the fact that you need to hit your brakes. You don't consciously think, I need to hit my brakes.
Right.
You do it because you need to slow down, and you just automatically do it. Your brain just reacts because you've done it for so long and done it so much. Same with anything. You don't step by step when you tie your shoes.
Right.
You just do it.
So now, tell me about your classes. Do you teach? Where do you teach out of? Do you teach just where you live, or do you travel the country?
My goal this year is to start traveling. I have spoken to some instructors that I'll probably collaborate with and start doing that. But no, for now, I have been teaching right where I'm at. And I got into it because when I first got into firearms.
By the way, where you're at? Because I don't think we talked about where you're at. Where you're
okay, so I am out of Trenton, Ohio.
Okay.
Which nobody's ever heard of. There's only like 3 traffic lights in Trenton, Ohio. You've never heard of it. It's a very rural area, but it's about 45 minutes-ish north of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
So that's where I'm located. And then the more I started training, and I think I really just kind of fell in love with it because there was so much to learn and so much growth in the firearm industry. I don't know a fraction of it. I'm a baby compared to these people here. I'm learning so much from them. But the more I trained and the more I learned, the more important I realized it was.
Right.
And then I would try to talk to the other ladies at the soccer game and whatever, and they didn't really have any interest. And then a lot of them kept telling me that they would rather take the training from a female. And I thought, that's kind of silly. And then I realized, well, the comfort of the student is actually very important.
Right.
I'm a female. I could do it.
Right.
So that's what I did.
Excellent.
I mean, if you'd told me 4 years ago that I would become a firearms instructor, I would have told you were crazy. I would have, 5 years ago. Yeah, no, I would have never thought.
And now here you are.
Yeah.
How do folks follow, how do folks follow the work that you're doing, and if they're interested in signing up for a class, how do they find you?
So the website's not quite up yet. I filed everything just a few months ago, and then everyone in my town caught COVID. But the website is thevelocityvixen.com. And then I have Instagram, which is both the Velocity Vixen and Velocity_Vixen 556. A mouthy, that one's shadow banned, but it is there. And then there's Velocity Vixen on Twitter. I do have a Getter, I'm not super active there. And Parler. I'm on all the social media. I'm on TikTok too, but again, just not super active there. I'm more active
hard
on
to be
Instagram
it's hard
and
to
Twitter.
be active
There's
everywhere.
too many.
Yeah.
Where I get the most questions, that's typically where I'm on the
Right.
most, because those are the people I'm trying to reach. These people are engaging, and I'm trying to talk to them.
Understandable. Hey, thank you so very much. Thank you for sitting down with us. As I wish all of our guests, I hope that you have a fun, safe, and prosperous SHOT Show 2020.
It has been amazing. Thank you for having me.
Excellent, excellent. All right, folks. Well, hey, once again, that's going to be it for this episode. We're still having a good time, still doing interviews with all the folks who are making things happen at SHOT 2020. Please make sure, I forgot to do this on the last few, but make sure you like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. And if you're listening to us or you just want to listen to us, you can find us, the audio version of all of these interviews. Just look for 2A News, not 2A News, The Rundown, 2A News and Conservative Views. And you can find that wherever you find your podcast. In any case, we'll be done. You guys take care, and we will talk to you again real soon.